All right, today we are talking about something really cool. It's a new AI framework that's basically giving our AI models a pair of glasses. We're talking about an AI that can finally understand the whole picture, not just the words on a page, but the charts, the tables, and the images where all the juicy information is usually hiding.
So let me ask you a question. When you're looking at, say, a company's annual report or a big scientific study, do you just read the paragraphs? No way, right? You jump straight to the graphs, you pore over the tables. But what if your AI assistant, the one you're counting on for a quick summary, could only read the text? What's it missing? Well, probably everything that matters. And this slide right here, it just nails the problem. On the left, that's the world most AIs live in today. It's just a flat wall of text. But on the right, that's our world. It's rich. It's got all this visual information where the real insights are buried. You've got charts, you've got tables. Most AI today is basically blind to half the story.
Okay, so to get how they're fixing this, you need to know about a concept called RAG. That stands for Retrieval-Augmented Generation. Honestly, the easiest way to think about it is that RAG gives an AI a library card. So instead of only knowing what it learned during its initial training, it can go out to a library of new documents and look up fresh, current information before it gives you an answer.
But here's the catch. What happens when that library is filled with modern documents, with charts and images and all that good stuff? Well, current RAG systems have a library card that only works on the text-only books. The AI goes in, sees a critical chart, and just skips right over it. It can only read the words around it, so it gets a totally incomplete and a lot of times a completely wrong idea. And look, this isn't just some small academic problem. In fields where the stakes are super high, this blindness is a huge deal. Think about an AI trying to help a scientist. It could literally miss a groundbreaking discovery because the data was in a plot, not a sentence. Or a financial AI that fails to spot a massive market trend because it couldn't read a chart. And in medicine, it could mean overlooking life or death information in a patient's diagnostic chart. This is a problem we absolutely have to solve. Which, of course, brings us to the hero of our story today. There's a new framework out there designed to give AI a whole new way of seeing. It's called RAG Anything. I love how the research paper puts this. It says RAG Anything reconceptualizes multimodal content. What that really means is, instead of seeing a document as just a jumble of separate things, a paragraph here, a picture over there, it sees the whole thing as one big interconnected web of knowledge. And that shift in thinking is everything. So here's the big idea, the main analogy to keep in your head. RAG, anything, doesn't just skim a document. It builds what we're going to call a master map of the entire thing. This map doesn't just show you the highways of text. It also pinpoints all the landmarks, the images, the tables, the charts, and crucially, it draws the roads connecting everything together. So, how in the world does it build this incredible map? Let's dive into the really clever tech it uses to understand not just the individual pieces, but how the whole puzzle fits together. Okay, the core technique has a bit of a technical name, dual graph construction. But don't worry about the jargon. All it means is that to build its one single master map, the system is smart. It actually builds two different, more specialized maps first, and each one is designed to capture a totally different kind of information. And this is how those two maps work. The first one, on the left, is the cross-modal knowledge graph. Just think of this one as the map of connections between different kinds of stuff. So how does this image relate to that paragraph? How does this table connect to its caption? That's what this map figures out. Then, the second map on the right is the text-based knowledge graph. This one just focuses on the words, doing a deep dive to chart out all the key ideas and how they relate to each other within the text. Then, it takes those two specialized maps and merges them into this, the master map. This is the big picture. It's a unified view where every single piece of information, whether it's a word, a number in a table, or a point on a graph, is connected to everything else it relates to. It's a complete brain of the document. Okay, so the AI has this amazing map. Now what? How does it actually find your answer? It uses a really smart method called hybrid retrieval. It actually does two things at once. First, it follows the literal roads on the map, the direct connections between, say, an image and the text describing it. At the exact same time, it does a different kind of search, looking for things that have a similar meaning or vibe, even if they aren't directly linked. Then it just combines both sets of results to find the absolute best, most relevant answer. A fancy map is one thing, but does it actually get you to the right destination? Well, that's exactly what the researchers wanted to find out.
So let's take a look at how RAG anything actually did when they put it to the test. And they did not go easy on it. They threw some of the toughest tests out there at this thing. We're talking long, messy, complicated documents that are packed with a mix of text, charts, and tables. The kind of stuff you actually find in the real world. And the very same stuff where most AIs just completely get lost. And the results? Well, they're pretty amazing. Check out these charts. That blue line, that's RAG anything's accuracy. Now watch what happens as the documents get longer and more complex. 50 pages, 100 pages, more. You see how the other models start to struggle? Their accuracy tanks. But the blue line, RAG anything, it stays strong. That master map lets it navigate all that complexity way, way better. Let's just zoom in on that for a second to see how big a deal this is. On one of the tests, specifically for documents over 100 pages long, RAG anything hit over 68% accuracy. Its nearest competitor couldn't even break 55%. That is a massive performance gap. It proves that this new map-building approach really shines when the going gets tough. And the researchers themselves say it best. This isn't just a tiny little improvement. It is a major leap forward, especially on those super complex documents where all the old methods just fell apart. And here is a perfect real-world example of what that means. The AI was asked a simple question. Find the model with the highest score in this complicated table. The other AIs, they got totally confused by the table's layout and just gave the wrong answer. But RAG anything? Because it understood the structure of the table, it navigated it perfectly and pulled out the right information. That's the difference right there between confusion and clarity. So let's pull back from all the tech and the graphs for a moment and just ask the big question. Why does any of this matter? What does this actually mean for the future of AI? Well, the real-world impact is potentially enormous. We're finally talking about an AI that can deliver on its promise in those critical fields we talked about. A medical AI that can actually read a full patient chart, images, notes, everything. A financial AI that can truly understand a company's performance by looking at the data, not just the summary. And of course, incredible new tools for scientists that can spot connections across mountains of research. We are finally teaching our AI to see the whole story. And, it leaves us with a pretty deep thought. For years, the big challenge was teaching AI how to read and understand human language. We're now getting really good at teaching it to see and interpret complex visual data. So the question for all of us is, what's next? What's the next sense we need to teach our AI to truly help us understand the world? Now, for any of you who want to get your hands dirty and explore this amazing tech for yourselves, the best news is that the RAG Anything framework is totally open source. You can check out all the code and the original paper for yourself at the link you see right here. Thanks so much for tuning in.